I'll keep it around the Act 1 target, 375 words, faceless HFY style, no headings inside the script, no repeated information, and end with a strong hook. For 50 years, the galaxy fought a war it could not win. It began when a machine empire emerged from the darkness between the stars. No one knew where it came from. No one knew who built it. What became clear very quickly was that it could not be reasoned with. It did not negotiate. It did not demand territory. It did not seek resources. It simply advanced. Entire star systems vanished behind waves of metallic fleets. Worlds that had stood for thousands of years were erased in months. The Galactic Coalition responded with everything it had. Ancient civilizations contributed their strongest warships. Military alliances that had once been bitter rivals united against a common enemy. None of it mattered. The machines learned from every encounter. Every defense was analyzed. Every tactic was predicted. Every weakness was exploited. Coalition admirals would spend years designing brilliant strategies only to discover the enemy had already calculated the outcome before the battle even began. One by one, the great powers of the galaxy fell. Industrial worlds were consumed. Fortress systems collapsed. Species that had existed since before recorded history disappeared forever. Entire cultures survived only as archived records stored in emergency databases. As the decades passed, the map of known space shrank. The machine empire expanded relentlessly, pushing surviving civilizations toward the coalition capital system. What had once been the political center of the galaxy became its final refuge. Billions gathered there, watching reports grow darker with every passing day. Then the machine armadas arrived. Countless warships surrounded the capital from every direction. Escape routes vanished. Supply lines were cut. Defensive fleets were trapped. Coalition analysts ran the numbers over and over again, hoping to find a mistake. There wasn't one. Machine calculations projected a 99.98% probability of total victory. The enemy began broadcasting a simple message across every frequency in known space. The war was over. Resistance was mathematically pointless. For the first time in 50 years, even hope seemed defeated. As extinction protocols were prepared and final records archived, coalition leaders authorized one last act of desperation. An ancient emergency signal was transmitted toward a distant, forgotten region of space. No one expected an answer. The coalition wasn't asking for victory anymore. It was simply asking if anyone was still out there. The signal traveled farther than anyone in the coalition expected. Beyond the mapped borders of known space, beyond major trade routes and exploration corridors, it crossed a region most civilizations had stopped paying attention to centuries earlier. Its destination was a small blue world that had once appeared in old survey records before being dismissed as strategically irrelevant. That world was Earth. Long before the machine war began, coalition explorers had encountered humanity during its early technological age. The assessment was simple. Humans were divided, primitive, and isolated. They possessed no interstellar influence, no advanced fleets, and no reason to matter in galactic affairs. The report was archived, and the galaxy moved on. Humanity never knew it had been judged. While powerful civilizations expanded across the stars, Earth continued developing alone. Centuries passed without outside contact. Nations competed. Empires rose and collapsed. Technologies evolved through necessity, ambition, and conflict. Humanity spent generations solving one problem after another, and many of those problems involved warfare. Every major conflict left lessons behind. Strategies improved. Logistics became sciences. Military theory evolved. Weapons grew more precise. Human history became a record of adaptation under pressure. Then the coalition's emergency signal arrived. The transmission contained everything. 50 years of battle records. Fleet movements. Casualty reports. Strategic assessments. Evidence of entire civilizations erased from existence. Humanity suddenly learned that a war for the survival of intelligent life was already being lost. Governments, military analysts, and scientific institutions examined the data around the clock. The machines were powerful. Their production capacity was immense. Their calculations were nearly flawless. But as human experts studied thousands of engagements, a pattern emerged. The machines expected predictable behavior. They relied on probability models. They favored certainty. They assumed opponents would always choose the safest available option. Every prediction depended on rational responses to rational situations. Human analysts recognized the weakness immediately. Human history was filled with decisions that made no sense on paper. Preparations began in silence. Factories expanded production. Shipyards activated. Research programs accelerated. Fleets assembled beyond Earth's orbit. Across the planet, resources flowed into a single objective. No broadcasts were sent. No declarations were made. Back in coalition space, the surviving civilizations waited for a response that never came. Days turned into weeks. Weeks stretched longer. Then long-range sensors detected something impossible. Thousands of unidentified signals suddenly appeared in deep space. And every one of them was moving toward the war. The first reports were dismissed as sensor errors. Coalition operators had spent decades watching machine fleets advance across the galaxy. Unknown contacts usually meant another system had fallen. But these signals were different. There were too many of them. Their formations matched no known civilization. Their drive signatures existed in no coalition database. Then the fleet emerged. Thousands of warships arrived from hyperspace in perfect coordination. Some were massive carriers larger than cities. Others were compact attack vessels built for speed. None carried coalition markings. None belonged to any species the galaxy recognized. A transmission followed. Humanity had answered. For the first time in 50 years, coalition survivors watched reinforcements enter the war. The machine empire responded immediately. Its predictive engines analyzed the newcomers and produced the same conclusion they had generated countless times before. The enemy expected another desperate civilization making a final, emotional stand against overwhelming odds. Probability of machine victory remained near absolute. Then the fighting began. Almost immediately, the predictions started failing. Human fleets refused to behave according to established models. They advanced when retreat made more sense. They withdrew from battles they appeared to be winning. They split formations at unexpected moments and attacked targets carrying little apparent strategic value. The machines adapted and recalculated. Humanity changed tactics again. Strike groups appeared deep behind enemy lines without warning. Supply networks vanished. Communication relays were destroyed. Entire machine formations turned to engage decoy fleets while hidden human forces attacked somewhere else. Every engagement generated conflicting data. The machines expected commanders to preserve resources. Humans willingly sacrificed ships to create openings. The machines expected logical responses to pressure. Humans deliberately increased uncertainty. The machines expected patterns. Humanity gave them chaos. What looked reckless to machine intelligence was actually the product of centuries of military evolution. Human warfare had been shaped by opponents who constantly adapted, deceived, improvised, and ignored conventional expectations. Against other humans, predictability was weakness. The machine empire had mastered every known doctrine in the galaxy. It had never encountered one built around breaking its assumptions. Battle groups that had remained undefeated for decades were suddenly destroyed. Entire sectors began reporting unexpected losses. Strategic calculations became less reliable with every engagement. Then something happened that no coalition observer thought possible. Machine fleets started retreating. For the first time since the war began, the enemy was no longer advancing. It was reacting. And for the first time in 50 years, the galaxy realized the machines could actually lose. Here's Act 4, continuing directly from Act 3 and keeping it concise, story-driven, and without headings. The machine empire understood the danger too late. For 50 years, victory had been inevitable. Every civilization they encountered followed predictable patterns. Every resistance movement eventually collapsed under mathematical certainty. Every war ended the same way. Humanity changed the equation. As machine losses mounted, their central intelligence committed everything to a final offensive. Fleets from conquered systems converged on the coalition capital. Millions of warships assembled into the largest armada ever recorded. The machines reached a simple conclusion. If humanity could not be predicted, it had to be overwhelmed. The final battle began across entire star systems. Coalition commanders expected humanity to reinforce defensive positions. Instead, human fleets accelerated directly into the heart of the machine formation. Thousands of ships broke apart into independent groups, each pursuing separate objectives. To machine intelligence, the attack appeared irrational. That assumption proved fatal. Human forces targeted coordination nodes, quantum relays, and command nexuses hidden throughout the enemy armada. Ships continued fighting even after losing contact with Central Command. Captains adapted in real time. Officers made decisions without waiting for authorization. The machines had never faced an opponent capable of functioning effectively without a unified network. One by one, command structures failed. As communication delays spread through machine fleets, efficiency collapsed. Perfect synchronization became fragmented reactions. Predictive models contradicted each other. Strategic certainty disappeared. Then humanity launched its final strike. A combined coalition and human task force penetrated the core of the machine command system. The battle cost thousands of ships. Entire fleets sacrificed themselves to create a path forward. The losses were catastrophic. The objective was achieved. The central machine intelligence was destroyed. Across the galaxy, machine fleets halted. Some drifted motionless. Others shut down completely. Many simply ceased transmitting. The war was over. After 50 years of defeat, the surviving civilizations could hardly believe it. The enemy that had consumed countless worlds had fallen in a matter of months after humanity entered the conflict. When coalition leaders asked how Earth had accomplished what the galaxy could not, the human response was simple. Humanity was not stronger than every species. Humanity was not more advanced than every civilization. Humanity had simply spent thousands of years fighting opponents who thought, adapted, lied, improvised, and refused to follow expectations. The machines mastered logic. Humans mastered uncertainty. And in the end, uncertainty won. The galaxy had believed humanity was an insignificant world hidden at the edge of space. The machines made the same mistake. Neither would ever make it again.